Hello and welcome to another Brick Digest. My name is Richard and today I'm going to be talking about this. This is the Lego Beatles Yellow Submarine. It is set 21306. It has 553 pieces. It retails for $54.99 in the UK and $59.99 in the US. It's part of the Lego Ideas range and has been available since last November, so if it's something that you think you might be interested in, it's probably time to go pick one of these up before it retires, because the Lego Ideas sets tend to have a limited shelf life. So as you can see here, if I just move this over to the side, we have the four Beatles themselves. We have John, Paul, George and Ringo. John and Paul look pretty good, that they look pretty much, you can say that they were, like the Beatles, they do actually look like the relevant Beatle, and Ringo looks pretty good as well. I'm slightly less keen on George. I'm not sure if you saw George on his own that you would actually believe or you would actually know who it was. Each of them comes with a prop. John has a telescope, Paul has a love sign, George, actually I'm not sure, it kind of looks like a camera to me, maybe. Maybe I just don't know my Yellow Submarine trivia well enough. Ringo seems to have some sort of tambourine. They also come in this nice little plinth with a Yellow Submarine sign on the front, which I'm pleased to say is, like all of the graphics in this set, is a printed piece. There is absolutely not a single sticker in this set whatsoever. Each of the Beatles also has a secondary face, but there's not a lot of variation between each of the facial expressions that they have. I'm a particular fan of the two coloured trousers here on both John and Paul, especially Paul, who, and it's maybe a little difficult to see here, that this the tunic kind of that he has here, the jacket that he has here, actually prints onto the bottom of the trousers to make it look as though it's hanging down, which is a nice little touch. So on to the main build itself. It took about an hour to build, so it wasn't particularly difficult. It's for ages 10 and up, so nothing was too taxing. What we have on the back here is we have moving propellers, we have a moving rudder piece. We have some really nice detail here on the top with these pipes, including an interesting use of these sausage pieces to create this red kind of webbing around here. The top lifts off because it is only attached by a couple of studs and then sits on the top of these base pieces, and then you can see that there is plenty more detail inside. Inside we have space for all four of the Beatles to stand. Oh, I've just knocked something off, I'll show in a second. There is space for all four of the Beatles to stand, and then for one of them to sit at the front and actually steer it, and then the top part can go back on. Speaking of the props, if you're wondering what you can do with them, this back section then lifts off, and then there's room for all the props to be stored in there as well, which is a nice little touch, because so often on a set like this you would find that you would go ahead and put them in, and then you'd have to take the things out of their hands and then there'd be nowhere to put them. Although I expect that the reality is that most people will be keeping the Beatles out, simply because sticking this back on another way. You'll be keeping the Beatles out because I imagine most people will be leaving this on display. It's not really a set for play, is it? It's a set that's very much targeted specifically at Beatles fans, and given the relative ease of building the set, Beatles fans that have maybe never built Lego before, but I'm sure there's some good crossover there in both Lego fans and Beatles fans. Since I knocked this off and I forgot to mention it, there is also this little character here carrying a little apple with a pink tail, which I am guessing is a blue meanie. Again, my trivia for Yellow Submarine maybe not good enough. And he has a special place here right on the front, on top of the cloud base for the set. So that's it, really. I think this is a reasonably good set. I don't think it's I think if you're a Beatles fan and a Lego fan, this is probably one that you want to add to your collection. Like I say, for somebody who's a Beatles fan who's not a Lego fan, they probably wouldn't find this too taxing to build, and it probably would then look nice on their display shelf once it was finished. So I think it's a thumbs up for me. So until next time, my name is Richard. You can find us over at brickdigest.com. You can find us here on YouTube, of course, youtube.com/brickdigest. Please do subscribe. And you can also follow us over at Facebook, where we post all the latest Lego news, and that is facebook.com. Can't even remember the name of it. Facebook.com/brickdigest. So until next time, goodbye.